and you was like, oh, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, well, let's do it.
So this man pulls out the phone and he pulls out a sick video and he's like, yo, this is what I do.
Yeah, I just really wanted to go to school and get an education. This is the biggest risk I ever took in my life. And I'm telling you, is I was in a completely different world in life. And at one point I had to sell that camera because I didn't have any money. Like, I cried because that's my passion. That was like my everything. And
we don't know where that next step could take us.
Welcome to Cut for Convo with Papiblendzz.
We're super excited to announce that we are starting a new project. And if you guys know me, I'm always inventing. I'm always trying to start something different, trying to stay motivated, trying to stay on track with the trends and everything going on. And now we have came up with the idea of shooting a podcast. So I did a little investment. So I want to welcome you guys to Cut for Convo with Papiblendzz, Cut for Conversation. As sometimes I run into so many great conversations behind the chair. And what better than have a platform and a form of sharing these great conversations, because I know a lot of you can relate. And this is not only going to be barber talk, we're going to be talking about a whole lot of great stuff, mental health, growth, and all the good things that you guys could think about. But today, I want to make my way into this new journey with a very special person that's been somebody key in the life of Papiblendzz and the growth of Papiblendzz and in the brand overall. I could say this is one of my best friends, one of my greatest friends, somebody that has been key not only in Papiblendzz but in my life as well. As we call each other every day, we share ideas every day, and we always inventing what's new, what should we do. And this whole idea of having a podcast is also part of him. So I want to introduce you guys into the creator, the person that's behind every Papiblendzz project, Papiblendzz overall, my boy Randy GT3. What's good, brother?
hey, thank you for having me, for being on this podcast. It's an honor to be here. You know, it started from an idea from us just discussing this, and you was like, oh, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, well, let's do it. Like, we have the camera, we have the camera knowledge, we have the knowledge to do anything. Like, we just need to like really execute on it. So making this podcast wasn't hard. It was just a matter of us just executing, getting audio equipment, which we were missing. We already have the cameras, the lenses, lighting, and yeah, we're here today, man. It's going to be a great podcast. I know
pretty much, like you said, we have everything. It has been an investment throughout the years. And you know me, man, I'd rather be broke than not have what I want to have, you know? So there's a lot of times where I'll go zero on my account, but I have the equipment to triple that expense that I did, that investment that I did. But anyways, I have the studio. We have everything. And all we were missing was the audio equipment. To be honest, this is our test run, our first episode. So if you see this episode, it's because it went well and we are happy and satisfied. And there will definitely be some stuff that we'll fix. But moving forward from that, super excited to have you here. Super happy to call you one of my closest friends, my brothers, and have had you in my life, you know. And it's crazy because I remember we met a little bit a while back, 3-4 years ago, and you were moving to Jersey. You know, you got a few cuts before you moved back to Jersey, and we had a conversation. I was like, yo, why you moving to Jersey, you know? And then you were like, I'm moving to Jersey because I don't find an opportunity here, and out there is what I have an opportunity to do what I do. And my question was, what do you do? So this man pulls out the phone, and he pulls out a sick video, and he's like, yo, this is what I do. I'm like, you record and edit? And at that time, I just had signed with Level 3, and I was looking for a designated, dedicated, and visionary, and a great videographer, somebody that wanted to grow with me, because obviously I didn't have the budget to pay somebody that the full amount that I could, but I'm sure I could provide you an opportunity. And then when this man shows me what he did, but he was leaving the next day to Jersey, I was completely heartbroken. And why did you move to Jersey?
I mean, so long story short, I've always taken like risk in my life. And initially I've lived everywhere, to be honest with you. I mean, I was born and raised in Jersey, Paterson, New Jersey, to be exact. But I was born and raised there till I was about 15. And then long story short, I moved to the DR because my parents had a liquor store in New Jersey, sold it, retired out in the Dominican Republic. When I went over there, I didn't want to stay over there. So I was like with the intention, as soon as I turn 18, graduate high school, which I was a freshman already when I moved to Jersey. I was around 14 years old. I was like, nah, I'm going back to the U.S. I don't know where, but I'm going back. I knew New Jersey wasn't really my place to go to, so I was like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know yet. But I know I'm going back to the U.S. I stayed there throughout the 4 years. As soon as I turned 18, I graduated high school. I was like, I'm out. Like, my parents already knew that. They were like, we know you're leaving. My cousin this is weird, but my cousin was living in Utah because he was also in DR, but he was older than me. He's 6 years older than me. He graduated from college, met an advisor in Utah at one of the schools. I had went over there to visit once, and he talked me into going to school over there, which was a great thing. I was into computer science, went to Utah.
Wow, Utah.
It's a very weird place as a Hispanic to be in. And at this point, I was 18. I just really wanted to go to school and get an education because I wasn't into videography back then.
Yeah.
So I went over there. I was 18 years old. And yeah, I went to school I lived in Utah for like 8 years. Along that path around 2016, I was working at a tech company. I met one of my closest friends. And being around those guys got me into videography because we were doing a lot of car videos and stuff like that.
Oh, dope.
So that got me into videography in general. That's where I like started diving in because I kept watching YouTube videos and I was wondering how these car YouTubers were getting these sick videos. In 2020, fast forward, I was living over there. I was just working a day-to-day job. I was doing videography here and there, but it wasn't something that I was getting paid for full time. I was just working a regular 9-to-5 job. Eventually, I was going to school, but I lost my, I don't think I ever told you this.
No.
See, these people are getting this story.
Yeah.
I lost my financial aid. My financial aid was my way to pay for school.
Wow.
So I no longer was able to pay for school because my GPA dropped to a average that was so low that I lost my ability to go to school, and I wasn't going to pay for school out of my pocket.
Yeah, it's expensive. Education out here, I don't understand how education is so expensive.
It's very expensive, and the reason I moved to Utah was to save money. Because if I was to come to, for example, if I'm here in Florida going to school in one of these colleges out here, there's no way I was going to pay for it. My financial aid covered my tuition. So long story short, I lost my financial aid. And at that point, I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, I'm doing either YouTube, something with videography, because I know this is my passion and I don't want to work in IT anymore. I was kind of like over the IT world. I was working with computers my whole life, but that's something that I lost interest as I kept going to school. So long story short, 2020, end of 2020, during COVID, this is the biggest risk I ever took in my life. And I'm telling you, is I probably had like $2,000 to my name. My friend probably had about the same. And we drove from Utah directly to Florida.
What car you had?
A Honda CRV.
The CRV that you had until like a little bit?
Yes.
You drove in that car?
We drove 37 hours nonstop from Utah directly to Miami.
Yo, Hondas are forever.
Forever.
Damn, but driving, like just having the balls of leaving the city with such a small amount of money, knowing that Miami is hella expensive with $2,000 in your pocket, knowing that will get you by a week, 2 weeks maybe, and just taking the risk of wanting to change your life. I congratulate you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I wouldn't be here sitting next to you if I wouldn't have drove here. Like, there's no way I would have been sitting here in this chair. I don't know where I would be in my career. To this day, I still think about that. I don't really tell that story a lot because it's like sometimes you just go on with life.
Yeah.
But when I do reflect, it's crazy to think that I actually came from that. Like, I was in a completely different world in life and everything happens for a reason, because thinking to the point where I looked you up, I got here and the first thing that I do is I look up,
Miami
barber, right? And I go on Instagram and I type in Miami barber within a week of being here, and somehow a bunch of barbers came up, but you're the barber that I connected with. Like, if I would have gone to another barber, I just would have just been getting my haircuts, just another barber, you know what I mean?
Probably. And it's crazy, right? Just to cut you off a little bit. Sometimes, we get scared from taking risks. Sometimes we get scared of taking that next step, but we don't know where that next step could take us. We never know. I never know where I'm going to be tomorrow. And that's why I tell people, and I learn myself as well, because as a barber, you asked me 4 or 5 years ago what I wanted to do. I either didn't know or I wanted to open a shop. But running through this career and just going day by day in this career, so many opportunities open doors for me that I found myself doing things that I've never thought were even accessible in the barber industry, right? So the fact that you took a risk and you were like, you know what, I'm getting on my CRV and I'm driving down to Miami, whatever happens, happens. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and the point is that you took the risk. You took the risk. So I want you to tell me, like, once you got to Miami, what was your game plan? Like, what did you get into? What happened? What did you face? Did you have any, you know, depressing days, bad days, good days? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so I got here during COVID, so that was probably one of the hardest times, and I think everyone was going through something during COVID. Like, you could be doing financially well, but it was like the separation from people, and the world was changing at that time, you know? So yeah, when I got here, it was like right in the peak of COVID, 2020, end of 2020, almost going into 2021. Got here, and my game plan was, as soon as I get here, I'm just gonna Uber. Like that, with all the skill sets that I knew that I had, that's what I went into. And then I temporarily was doing that. I got a job doing IT at a data center here because I had a background in doing IT, obviously. So I did that temporarily, but then that didn't work out. So I did that for like a month and then went right back to doing Uber full time. And I was doing that up until the end of 2020 till March of 2021 to be exact.
March,
that's when I left to New Jersey.
That's when you left to Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah, so you left to Jersey, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, no Diddy, right? I was thinking like about this, man. I was like, damn, because, you know, I had a videographer back then, but he was scaling, he was growing, he was taking off. And then I needed to find somebody else to be right there with me because I always have the hunger of growing and being better. But it's like once one of the homies said, is like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I always understood that having a team was very important to grow in any industry or anything you do, right? So since you left to Jersey, I was thinking like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I would have known that because I was able to provide you with an opportunity as soon as you told me you were leaving.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? Things are not meant to be. It is what it is. But you also had told me that you were only going to be there for a few time and then you were coming back. The time you came back, I was like, yo, it was like a light. Because again, what you showed me on the video, it was a landscape video, a drone video, riding through the mountains, cars and stuff. But I understood the vision. I saw the vision. I saw the art that you had. I saw the talent that you had, you know? So I was like, okay, this is a person that I could probably work with as long as I guide you on to my vision and you understand what I do and you implement your art, your talent. Bro, we could do magic. And right as soon as we started working together, we had the industry shaking, bro. And not to sound cocky, but I'm going to be real cocky, bro. At that 2021, 2022, any event we pulled up to, yo, Papiblendzz and Randy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those crazy videos that nobody had ever seen in the industry, you were pulling them out. And those were one of the key times that Papiblendzz actually took off. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for, you know what I'm saying, your talent, your time, and stuff like that. So I'm grateful, bro, to have been able to, you know what I'm saying, that you came back.
Yeah.
You came back and it's like dope because now you're working with us. Now we're growing together and we've done so many things. Think about, bro, where we started.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, started with a Sony. I mean, it was a great camera. Still to this day is probably one of the best cameras, a Sony A7 III, not the S. Shoots 4K, shoots everything you need in a camera, that camera provided. But I remember before that, I had a Sony A7S II, and I don't even think I told you this because this
Sony
is
A7S II?
Yes.
I didn't even know that existed.
So the old Sony A7S II came out in 2016. I didn't buy it in 2016. I bought it in like 2018. Actually, my friend bought it for me because I was doing all his videos at the time. So he bought me that camera. He's like, yo, just learn, keep learning, and keep evolving. But that was one of the best Sony cameras at the time because it was a camera that was able to shoot. It was like one of the first cameras that was able to shoot low light and shoot at such a high quality. It was one of the first full frame cameras as well. That's when full frame cameras became a thing. So I had that camera when I was here before I started shooting videos for you. And at one point, I had to sell that camera because I didn't have any money. So
Oh,
I
damn.
sold that camera for so cheap. I think I got like $400 for it. And at the time, I could have gotten like $900, but I was so in need of money, I got rid of it. And then I re-upped doing Uber, and I was able to save money.
And that's when you got the A7 III.
That's when I got the A7 III. So I remember I was just working Uber constantly here in Miami. This was during COVID. And at that time, there was a lot of money in the street.
Yeah.
There was a lot of money doing Uber. Like if you were out there doing Uber at that time, you could make $300-400 bucks a day.
Just to add a little bit onto that, I used to do Uber. I don't know if you know. I think I told you before. I used to do Uber before I became a barber. But there was so much money in doing Uber that I used to work from 4 in the morning till 9, 10 in the morning, and then the rest of the day I had off. And got to a point where I was so bored, and I realized I wasn't doing anything with my life besides running people up and down. Uber at the end that it started, slowing down, because the same way you go up, the same way you come down. That's how Uber went. And that's how I found myself, like, I'm bored. I got to do something because I know this is not going to last forever.
Yep.
And that's how I became a barber. But that's crazy, bro. Damn. So you sold your camera to survive.
Yeah, I sold my A7S II, kept doing Uber. I was like, I need another. I cried when I sold that camera. Like, I cried because that's my passion. That was like my everything. And like, I had to get rid of my camera. And I felt lost at that time. But I was like, I'm just going to keep my head, I'm just going to keep working. And I kept grinding doing Uber, and I was able to honestly, I was able to save like $6 or $7 grand before I went to New Jersey, which was a lot of money at the time, just doing Uber. So I saved up, and then I took $2,000 out of that, and I went and bought an A7 III. And
you bought that brand new?
I bought that. I think it was pre-owned, I think it was pre-owned, but it was like in perfect condition.
Yeah, sometimes like buying pre-owned stuff is a lot more convenient than buying anything new.
Yeah, 100%. So I bought that camera pre-owned. And I took it to Jersey. I did a couple videos out there that summer of 2021. Came back over here, obviously, because New Jersey just didn't work out that summer. It was good, but it's not that it didn't work out. It's just I felt stuck. And even my brother one day told me, he's like, yo, I don't want you to stay here like doing this. Like, I know you have way more potential. Like, you just need to get back to whatever it is you need to do. So I already knew that I needed to come back to Florida. I didn't know what it was for, because at the time, me and you still didn't have any sort of contact.
Type of conversation.
Yeah, about videography or anything. I remember before I left, I did show you that video, and I was like, yo, this is what I do. But you didn't really tell me anything at that point. And I was like, cool, like whatever. Like, you already knew I was leaving. So came back over here, and the first thing I did was I hit you up for a haircut. And I hit you up for a haircut. And I remember when I sat down in that chair, you were having sort of a conversation with your other videographer. And I remember you were kind of telling him something like, yo, I can't have you doing this. You guys were having like a back and forth, and you were sending voice notes. And I was just sitting there like, damn. And the first thing you did, because at that point you knew I did videography, because before I had left, I already had told you that. And you looked at me and you was like, yo, how much you going to charge me? How much would you charge me for a video? And I was like, man, nothing. Like, let me do a video for you. And you were like, no, seriously. How much are you going to charge me for a video? I need a video. And I was like, man, nothing. Just let me do a video for you. You know what I mean? We didn't really discuss too much. And I remember maybe the next day you hit me, or a couple days later. I can't recall exactly. But you hit me up. I think you went to Chicago, and that's when obviously you were with Level 3. And I remember you going to Chicago, and I don't know if you showed Chetta or anyone else over there, like my video, my work. And I remember your feedback was like, yo, I'm trying to give you an opportunity here. I work with this, this big brand, and I'm trying to see if you want to do this. Here's the amount of money. This is what we can offer you. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, why would I say no to this?
Yeah.
Like, this is going to change. I'm doing Uber. Like, this is the best opportunity I can take. So yeah, that's how kind of we started. And that was end October of 2021.
2021. Damn, we've been working together for 3 years.
Yeah.
And to be honest, is since we started, I do flashbacks, right, and think about where we started. Because you started cutting your hair with me at the shop, and at the shop I was working with Level 3, and then out of nowhere, you know what? I just moved into the studio, and then in the studio we created so much. I feel like we created better videos in the smaller studio than we have
100%.
in this bigger studio. But like, it's been a great journey, man. Like, fuck, I think about it, right? It's
been a crazy journey. I mean, we start from there. We start where I mean, when I came with you, it was perfect timing because what was booming was Instagram Reels.
Instagram Reels and like movie Instagram Reels.
Yes.
Like
Cinematic.
Cinematic Instagram Reels, fast paced transitions.
But in the barber industry, I don't think anyone had like, this is not to knock on anyone, but from what I saw, no one had the vision we had. And like the skill set that I was bringing in terms of editing, we brought something different to that.
To the industry, we definitely brought something different. And we obviously didn't slow down. Just the industry and the content and the world has continuously evolved. And the only thing that I could say is like when things keep evolving, you need to adapt to what's the moment to keep going, because I'm sure that we could still do those videos and be crazy, but those people are not appreciating the amount of work that those videos used to take. It was like lighting up the room right, transitions, colors, a lot of time on your end editing, a lot of time on my end creating, and you know what I'm saying? But gratefully, we've been able to come together and grow, you know what I'm saying? Put my talent together with yours, and this is how far we getting, man. And I'm glad that today we're able to actually share a little bit more of your story, because I feel like people know about my story, but this is not about me today. It's about, you know what I'm saying, me being grateful and showing my gratitude. And I want the world to know who you really are, the struggles that you've been through and all that stuff. So I want to say, shit, I appreciate you being on the first episode of my podcast. You know, this is a test run, but also if it works out, it works out, and it'll be posted because we're being as natural as possible, as transparent as possible. So I want to say thank you for being here, bro. Thank you for everything that you've done for myself, Henry Rodriguez, and also for the brand of Papiblendzz.
Nah, anytime, man. We're here to we're only getting warmed up. Like we're still creating. We have bigger concepts now. We're getting into short films. We're doing movies. We have so much stuff with commercial work now, and now we're evolving. Me and you both, like we have evolved to other things, and we have bigger visions now. So that's
dope. So don't forget Papiblendzz, Randy GT3, and we just dropped an amazing short film that we did based on a polluted society, going from being pretty much nobody and just being in the streets, enjoying life, to becoming Papiblendzz today. Again, this was the first episode of Cut for Convo, Cut for Conversation. And just stay tuned. We're going to be sharing a lot of knowledge. We're going to be bringing in some amazing guests, some guests that have a story to tell, not necessarily have all the follows in the world, but we'll have a story to impact you who is watching each and every episode of this. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and comment down below what other type of subjects would you like to see in Cut for Convo. To be honest, man, it's honestly a new journey. So I am super excited for what's to come, to share with you guys and just sit here and chop it up. Randy, you got something else to say?
That's it, man. A lot of dope guests. I'll be on some of the podcasts hopefully in the future. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming. So
let's get it, my brother. Appreciate you. Bye.